Adam Ellis rents the ground floor of a two-storied apartment. When he is living there, he starts having the same weird nightmare again and again. He buys a Polaroid camera after this. Then he takes photos of the entire house. All the photos were okay except for the photo of the entrance of the living room. Adam freaks out when he sees that photo. What was in that? Was it something paranormal? In year 2017, Adam posts a weird message on his Twitter account. The message was as follows. So, my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child and he's trying to kill me. After this message, he starts sharing his paranormal experiences on his Twitter account continuously. This is the next message he shared. He started appearing in my dreams, but I think he is crossed over into the real world now. Then he stated that on the first day he saw this ghost child, he had sleep paralysis. That means he couldn't react to anything. He was frozen. There is a green rocking chair in his room. He says that the child uses to sit there and stare at him as if he is gonna kill him. Then he has drawn the face of this child and shared it on his Twitter account. After staring at him for a while, this child had started to come towards him, dragging his foot. It seemed that he was walking with a great difficulty. Adam couldn't do anything since he was paralyzed. After a while, he was able to shout and get up. Few days after this incident, Adam starts having nightmares. One dream was as follows. He was in a library and suddenly a woman approaches him. She asks a question from Adam. "You saw dear David, right?" Adam replied, "Who?" She says, "You saw dear David. Dear David is a dead child. You can ask 2 questions from him, but for that you have to address him as dear David. Don't ask more than 2 questions from him. If you do so, he is gonna kill you." Adam gets scared and awakes after this. After 2 weeks of this dream, Adam sees David once again. Adam describes about David like this. David was not a normal child. His head was bent, slightly bent inwards. That day also David was seated on that green chair, staring at him. Adam started talking with David. He asked, "Dear David, how did you die?" David replies, "I died due to an accident which took place in a store." "What was the accident you faced?" Adam asked again. "Somebody pushed a rack on me," David replied. "Who pushed the rack?" Adam asked. David didn't reply. Instead, he started to growl. Suddenly, Adam remembered the girl's warning. She warned Adam not to ask more than 2 questions, but it was too late now. Adam started to tremble, and the next second, he woke up. The next few days, Adam started investigating about a dead child named David who was killed in a store, but he couldn't find nothing. Suddenly, the upper apartment was vacant. Adam gets ready to move to the upper apartment since it was bigger than his apartment. Few months passes without any weird incident. Adam also forgets about David, but one day, Adam faces a weird incident. He adds another message on Twitter. "Something weird happened to me these few days. My pet cats go near the door of my living room at midnight and keep staring at the door. I opened the door to check whether someone is there once, but I couldn't see anybody. I closed the door and took a photo outside through the peephole. I felt as if somebody was there. The cats staring at the door at 12 every night became a habit. The cats made weird noises. Adam was scared, but he managed to calm himself. Adam decides to record the sounds of his apartment while he was asleep. One day, he sees 33 recordings in his phone. When he listens to these recordings, he finds 3 weird recordings. In one recording, he heard small footsteps, and in the other 2, he heard weird electric-like sounds. He shares all these on Twitter. Later on, he buys a Polaroid camera. He photographs the whole apartment with this. All the places were photographed clearly, but when he sees the photo of the entrance to his living room, it was all dark. He photographs the entrance few more times, but the results were the same. Then he takes photos using his phone. The photos taken from the phone was clear. Once again, he takes another photo from the Polaroid camera, but again, he got a dark photo of the living room entrance. He adds these photos on Twitter as well. He took a video clip of him taking these photos to prove that he was not making this up. After few months of these incidents, Adam sees David again. David was seated on the green chair and was staring at him. Adam noticed that David was shrunk than the last time he saw him. Adam didn't forget to record the sounds when he was asleep. Every morning at about 3 a.m., the weird electric noise begins and continues for about 5 minutes. After few days, Adam sees David again. David comes near Adam and drags him to a storeroom. Adam wakes up out of fear and notices the hand which was held by David was reddened. Adam's cat started to go near the door by 10 p.m. now. One day, Adam receives a call from an unknown number at about 10:30 p.m. He ignored these calls, but one day he changed his mind and answered. He hears the same electric noise which was recorded in his phone few times. After few seconds, it stops and he couldn't hear any noise at all. Then he hears a breathing sound in distance. Being scared by this, when Adam tries to hang up, suddenly he hears somebody saying hello from the other end. Adam gets scared to death by this incident. He got scared so much that he couldn't sleep that night. After this incident, Adam moves the green chair from his room to the living room. Then he plans a 3 weeks tour to Japan, hoping everything to change when he returns. Before leaving, he fixes 24 hours working cameras in his apartment. He wanted to keep an eye on his cats and the apartment while he was away. Before leaving, he decides to stay out one day to check the performance of his new cameras. When he checks the videos, he sees the green chair in the living room was rocking by itself. Suddenly, his tortoise shell decor falls from the wall. Then he sees his cat was acting weird, as if somebody is in front of him. Few days later, Adam goes to Japan and returns home after 3 weeks. The next day, while he was getting ready to go to work, he hears somebody scratching his living room door. He takes a photo through the peephole and his heart jumps out of his chest by what he sees in the photo. A child was looking at Adam through the peephole. Another day, when Adam goes to drink some water at midnight, he sees his cat staring at the front building of his apartment through the window. At first, he couldn't see anything, but for second time when he looks, he sees a shadow staring at him. He was so scared by this that he looks at the front building once again to run away from this place. But for his astonishment, the figure was nowhere to be seen. He gets drunk that day in order to stay strong. By this time, 8 months passed after he had seen David for the first time. Adam sees David once again in his dreams. This time he comes towards Adam, dragging his foot. Suddenly, his eyes rolled up, making the pupil disappear. Adam was paralyzed and there was nothing he could do. After a great effort, Adam was able to get control of his one hand. While Adam was trying to grab his phone, David comes closer and whispers something. Adam takes photos of David, hoping that after his death, there will be proof that he was killed by a ghost. Suddenly, Adam could get up. As soon as he wakes up, he started to check his phone to see the photos he took. He was able to capture the whole incident. All this time, Madam thought that this was all his hallucinations. But this time, after seeing the photos, he starts to tremble with fear. He knew that David was real. After this, Adam starts hearing noises from his ceiling. When he checks on it, he notices a covered window-like hole on the ceiling. Though he wanted to enter through it and investigate, it was hard for him since it was on top of the stairs. The sounds coming from the ceiling started to grow. As Adam's last message about this on Twitter, he mentioned that he tries to investigate what's in the ceiling one way or another. Many of Adam's followers thought that David was managed to go inside Adam's body. Some thought that something bad happened to Adam. After this, he stopped sharing his experiences about David, but he stated that he was doing good.